There's the command. The engines, the Infiniti engines coming to life.
With those words, another page in history is about to be written here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And for just the second time ever in the month of May, it involves the rising stars of the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. For more than 90 years, the only road to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for open-wheel drivers was the Indianapolis 500.
Contact wins it by less than 1/10 of a second.
No, he's swirling. No, he's spinning. Danny Sullivan spins.
Goodyear makes a move. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second.
But all that changed in 2003 as Ed Carpenter made history as the first winner of the Menards Infiniti Pro Series Freedom 100. Now the door is open for the next driver looking to add his name to the storied list of winners here at Indianapolis. The field is set. The green flag is ready. History is waiting next. We welcome you to the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where today we proudly present live coverage of the Menards Infiniti Pro Series second annual Futaba Freedom 100. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you with us here at Indianapolis. I'm Jerry Punch, and we are joined by our expert analyst and co-owner of Dryer and Rainbow Racing, Robbie Buell, and our special guest, two-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, Elio Castroneves. And Elio, none of these drivers in today's field have ever won a race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but they all have their dreams. So let's climb inside their helmet for just a moment. What's going through their minds right now?
Well, no doubt about it. They are really focused, first of all, to make sure they're going to be good on the first lap. And obviously, a lot of butterfly going on because right now it's the moment of the start, you know, so you need to know you're not going to mess it up. And it's 45 an hour, so you want to make sure that you be patient because patience pays off.
Now, thinking about what could happen to them after today's race if they are a winner here at Indianapolis. And Robbie, you built an impressive resume in your early years in a development series very similar to this. What must these drivers do today to be successful?
I did. All these guys are in the same equipment. They all have the Dallara chassis, Infiniti motors. They're on Firestone tires. So all those variables being almost same, these drivers want their ability and their talent to show through. They want to send a strong message of their ability to the IndyCar team owners watching this event.
And you know, one driver whose talent showed through yesterday in qualifying, he's our pole sitter, and he's standing by with Cameron Steele. Cameron?
Well, gents, I'm here with the guy who has set a new course record here for qualifying at just over 189 miles an hour. Tiago, in Phoenix, you took the pole and you also took the win. Here last year, you were collected in a first lap accident. How important was the pole here for you?
I mean, it was very important for me. The St. Schmidt Motorsport have done a very good job, and we put everything together. We wasn't the quickest car on the qualifier yesterday, but we was smarter and we could get the pole. And I mean, I have a very good expectation for the race, and we'll be very competitive. Hopefully the win doesn't change a lot.
Thank you, Cameron. After 2 of 12 events, the Menards Infiniti Pro Series points are close. Only 38 points separate the top 5. That's Tiago Medeiros all the way down to Rolando Quintanilla. What can the Menards Infiniti Pro Series do for drivers? Well, a couple of drivers know exactly what it did for them. They're both qualified for the Indianapolis 500, and they're standing by with Cameron Steele.
Well, right now I'm standing with a couple guys that really know about the series. Last year's winner here at Indianapolis, Ed Carpenter, and Mark Taylor, last year's champion. And Ed, I want to start with you. How important was it for you to race here at Indianapolis? Not only race, but win here before you got to the Indy cars?
Well, I mean, all these guys' dreams that are out in the race, I mean, their whole dream is probably, for most of them, to come to Indianapolis. So anytime you get to do that and race here, it's a big plus, especially when you want to get to the IndyCar series. And just to win the race for me last year was a big boost in my career, and it's on the biggest stage in the world, so it was a big help.
For sure, the biggest stage in the world. Everybody's dreams watching TV growing up to race here and be a part of it. You win the championship last year. How much did winning the series help you as you made your transition into Indy cars?
It's a huge benefit to be able to race in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. You get to run with the Indy cars at all the tracks and get the experience of being able to run side by side, so close together, just like the Indy cars. And it's some great racing. You'll see it today as well. And it gives you a great boost. You're able to win the championship. You're able to move up and able to do it with AJ Foyt the year before and with me this last year. And hopefully whoever wins it this year will be able to do the same.
Well, hopefully, and two shining stars. We'll see who out of this group today can make their move next.
Thank you very much, Cameron. And the field is rolling onto the racetrack, and it will be led down today by a 21-year-old Brazilian by the name of Thiago Medeiros. And turn back the clock to Phoenix International Raceway. He started on the pole there and dominated, leading flag to flag, becoming the first driver in the history of the series to lap the entire field. What an impressive performance, and he puts his car on the pole here with a brand new track record. He is flanked by Paul Dana, the pole sitter down at Homestead, Miami, in the ethanol Himmelgarn Johnson machine. Back in row 2, Jeff Simmons, a 2-time winner last year, and beside him, Jay Drake, a 3-time USAC Series champion who drives in the short tracks for Tony Stewart. Ari Leindyke Jr., son of 2-time Indy 500 winner, besides Robbie Marty Roth. In row 4, there is Phil Giebler alongside Billy Rowe. Row 5, Corey Witherill, who finished second here a year ago, and John Hurd. Row 6, Matt Beardsley and Leonardo Maya. Watch him to be a factor early on. Row 7, Brad Pollard and the Mexican Rolando Quintanilla. Great effort from him in qualifying and practice. Row 8, Jesse Mason and Gary Peterson. And in row 9, Taylor Fletcher out of San Clemente, California. As the Corvette convertible pace car pulls away, we are set to get underway here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Green flag waves here at Indianapolis, and Greg Holler of Delphi gets them underway as they're 3 wide down in turn 1.
Whoa, did you see Jeff Simmons did a pull, definitely a good move inside Thiago. So now guys need to be careful. The wind is very strong today. I tried this morning and it's very, very difficult side by side, and well, they made it. So let's see what's going to happen here. Oh, they touched.
Almost touched there, didn't they?
Wow, man, they're racing already. That's the second corner only.
Yeah, and I think, you know, here we got Jeff Simmons driving for A.J. Foyt. That car won here a year ago, and there he's looking on the inside of Thiago as they head through turn 3. These guys got to remember to be patient. Just like you said, Helio, at the top of this show, patience does pay.
I tell you, Robbie, every time I put my helmet, I always forget what I keep talking about, you know, so I guess they're doing the same.
Yeah, but they're definitely settling down now here, so size up what your competition has. Who's good in 1, who's good in 2, 3, and 4. And like you say, we got a big wind that's blowing down that back chute that these guys didn't have yesterday. That wind plays a big factor, the way it can hit these race cars and move them around. Those guys got to figure that out before they get too aggressive.
Thiago Medeiros, our leader. Jeff Simmons in the car that won here a year ago for A.J. Foyt, the Futaba Delphi machine in second spot. Paul Dana back in third. Leindyke is fourth. Jay Drake. How impressive was Jay Drake, never having been in an Indy car except for a test about 3 or 4 years ago, to get in a car and qualify so well here?
Well, that's what I say. When he got in a car here for this open test, that's only the second time he's been in a rear-engine race car, and these cars handle very different than what he's used to. We know he's been incredibly successful in the midgets, the sprint cars, the Silver Crowns. This is a different type of racetrack, but he is a racer. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there.
Looks Ari putting another move as well in Paul Dana, and cautions out.
Yeah.
Yellow being shown on lap number 3 here early on, as we have smoke from the back of one car. There's been in the left front wing is missing.
Yeah, that's John Herb, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So John Herb, who is a veteran of the Indianapolis 500, ran the 500 back in 2001, finishing 27th, and there has been some contact. So we have the first yellow coming out on lap number 3, and there's the debris. There's his left front wing on the racetrack, and that certainly will be a...
It looked like there was another car that got high through that turn. I'm not sure who that was, but that's probably who John Herb got in contact with. Hopefully it didn't hurt that other car that's out there. We see smoke from...
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, and I think that's the car of Billy Rowe.
Oh, really?
Indeed, that is Billy Rowe.
Yes.
The 47-year-old driver out of Indianapolis in the Xbox Team ISI machine.
Look at that.
Great action here in the early laps. Here is Jeff Simmons and Thiago Medeiros starting the dash, and look how close they are.
Yeah, they did touch. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And you want to do something like that right on the first, actually not even the first lap. So, but hopefully that's not going to affect Thiago's cars through the run. Huh?
Yeah. So here we got the incident that just occurred. Oh,
look at that, man!
Yeah,
he's squeezing to the wall, and the other one. Whoa. Man, that was a tough one. Look at that.
Hard on the brakes on the inside. Looks like there was some contact of...
Well, that was Rolando Quintanilla, I think, that was hard on the brakes there. I'm not sure where Herb lost that wing.
Well, our exclusive coverage of the Futaba Freedom 100 is being brought to you by Futaba, building a brighter future, and by Firestone. For more information on Firestone tires or to find your nearest retailer, visit firestonetire.com. Back with more in just a moment. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, lap number 4 of the Futaba Freedom 100. And just a moment ago, as we started, we were under yellow with incident down in turn 1. Now, we'll show you what happened just moments ago. Just past the start-finish line, they were running 3 wide, and Billy Rowe was looking to be passed by John Herb. And what happened apparently was that Billy Rowe's car got up a little high. Herb got squeezed and tagged the outside wall, entering one, and that sheared off that right front wing. And everyone else, Rolando Quintanilla did a great job to get on the brakes.
Yeah, because everybody got stacked up there real quick. So we're lucky that Rolando didn't get into the back of somebody else.
Or probably if he would have hit the brakes so hard, he probably would have spun out.
Yeah.
But he was very, very lucky. He did a good job. You're right,
Yeah,
Robbie.
well, we'll have to watch with Rolando. Well, here we're watching this replay. Now, watch on the right side of your screen.
All of a sudden, he moved up, hit the wall.
Yep, and there you can see the right front wing of John Herb going in there, and then all that smoke right there, that was Rolando Quintanilla putting on the brakes.
Look, that's the right corner.
Let's talk to the man himself. Cameron Steele is caught up with John Herb.
Well, the bent rear wishbone taking you out of the race. What happened from your viewpoint, John?
Well, it was a pretty simple deal, really. We were 3 wide in the front stretch, which is how you run it when you're running the big race here. So I figured we'd probably be okay going down the straightaway. I guess Billy didn't know I was there. He turned right into me as I was coming up alongside his rear there, and I tried to back out a little bit, but got into his right rear and got into the fence on the right-hand side. So it cut his tire down, but it ripped my front wing off and bent the right front suspension. So we're done.
A tough break, out for the day. Back up to you guys.
Well, this is a perfect example. Now, do they have spotters here?
Yes.
You see, that's a perfect example. The spotter should be on it, and should have telling that John Herb was outside, and I guess, well, things happen.
Well, he said it right there. They were 3 wide.
Yep.
As we go back to green, restart here on lap number 7. As you ride along with the Futaba onboard camera with Jeff Simmons.
There he is, and he got his nose. He had a good restart, timed that well. He got his nose underneath Tiago as he went into turn 1 and took that position away. But Tiago's going to stay right there. These guys know this is a long race. They need to be patient.
Yeah, absolutely. He seems to be doing a very good start. Like the start of the race now, restart. He seems to be doing really well, Jeff Simmons.
Jeff Simmons, so impressive a year ago. Had a pole, 2 wins at Kentucky and the Gateway, 3 second-place finishes at Pikes Peak, Michigan, and Texas, and 7 consecutive top 10 finishes. He's showing the way here.
Yeah, and that's Phil Giebler that looks like he just picked up a position. Now, remember, Phil Giebler's the guy that started last at Homestead and won that race, and he's got something to show here, and that's a very competitive car. That's the car that Jeff Simmons raced last year here.
Giebler only led the final 6 laps at Homestead and was able to reel in the leaders and make a pass. And we've heard of those last lap passes at Homestead, haven't we, Elio?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want to go into that, please. Right now, I'm watching the Pro Series race. All right, please give me a break here, guys.
All right, we're just going to pick well on our buddy, our special guest, Elio Castroneves, 2-time Indy 500 winner. What a final lap! The fans were screaming at Homestead, and of course, Robbie Buell, our expert analyst.
And there's Marty Roth getting on the inside of Jay Drake there. He got it. He had a good run on him. He sucked up behind that car and got his nose underneath him in turn 3. And now, let's see what that pack can do of closing on the car in front of them, led by Marty Roth. And there, we're coming back to him in the middle of your screen. There's Marty in the yellow, black, and white car.
Here's a nice move in the 12 car. That's Matt Beardsley out of Breckenridge, Colorado, in the dollar rent-a-car Shadeland N machine.
Whoa,
man.
Be high, man.
Oh,
hang in there. Hang in there. I tell you that. Man, I tell you, being watching here, it's kind of suffering, man. These guys are really going for it.
You sound like the boys' car up here. We're all singing at one time, and but it gets that close here. And folks, they're running laps down the backstretch at almost 200 miles per hour. They're 189 mile per hour averages in qualifying, and a little over 180 now here in the race. So probably about 190 on the straightaway.
That's a very good setup with Leonardo Maia. He definitely was making a good setup to make that pass. And again, I spoke with him yesterday, right before the 15 minutes practice, and he said his car is doing really, really well behind traffic. Well, looks at that now.
Yeah, look at him right now. Battle for 7th place.
That is Drake and Maia. Two drivers who come from different backgrounds. Drake, of course, the three-time USAC champion. There's Leonardo Maya, who is the reigning Skip Barber Racing School champion in 2003, driving for Brian Stewart Racing. The 23-year-old who lives in Miami, born in Brazil.
Yeah, and I'm very familiar with that championship that Leonardo won as a driver, and that is a very competitive series. So as he matures as a driver and gets used to these big super speedways that these Pro Series, Infiniti Pro Series cars run on, he'll only get better as the year goes along.
Look like Mason. Is that Mason trying to make a move on the turn 4 right now?
Jesse Mason, the youngster out of Niagara Falls, Ontario, who's actually going to school to be an engineer in England, and hopes to someday make it to Formula One competition. There's a look at the number 3, Jesse Mason.
I wonder if Quintanilla now has a vibration problem.
Well, yeah, and what Helio is saying is when we just saw all that smoke that came up from turn 1 and that incident was there, that smoke was coming from Rolando's car, and he locked up those tires, and we're wondering if he got flat spots on those rubbers. I'm sure he did, Helio.
I'm telling you, man, it's the worst thing driving like that because you cannot see anything, the car cannot handle well, and here go those battles. That's Dana and Drake.
That indeed is Jay Drake trying to make a move and makes the pass on Paul Dana for 5th position.
Yep. And that, you know, that actually surprised me. From watching the practice out here, I thought Paul Dana had a very strong car in traffic.
So
it looked like he could go high and low and do what he wants. So the fact that Jay Drake's making a move on him,
they did improve their car.
yeah. And Jay Drake, like I said earlier, is a racer. And there we had, I think was that Maya getting a run by Marty Roth going into turn 1.
That's right, yeah.
Wow, he had a run on them.
They call him Leo. His mama wants him called Leonardo on television, so we will abide by what mom wants. Leonardo Maya, impressive run. Over at that, when he ran at Phoenix a few weeks ago, the young man finishing in 3rd spot, making a pass on the late laps, and he's still shuffling his way toward the front.
Yeah, and that's Marty Roth there we see slowing up, so obviously he's got some problems, and that's too bad because we know he's got a lot of more work ahead of himself today and tomorrow to get into the 500.
Marty Roth trying to do the doubleheader, trying to qualify one to run this race and also qualify on bump day for the 88th running of the Indianapolis 500. He is slowing down, and the battle continues up front. Tiago Medeiros has zipped by Jeff Simmons to reassume the lead here on lap number 13 and pull it away.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but if you just saw there, Jeff tried to stick his nose right underneath him, and he lost the air on the front of his wing. So with losing that air on the front, the car was pushing up the racetrack. He had to dump the throttle, and that's where you see that gap is. He'll close that back up. He'll close that gap back up.
Tiago Medeiros says, see you guys. He pulls away to about a 15 car length advantage here early on in the Futaba 100. And back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Futaba Freedom 100 early on. 15 laps are in the books here at Indianapolis. And Tiago Medeiros is our leader. How did he get the lead? We'll show you what happened off of turn 4.
And this is some great racing. Tiago got a great run on the back of Jeff Simmons. He's using that draft. He's getting sucked along, and then he pulls up alongside him. And look at right there with him, when he comes back across the nose of Jeff Simmons, that takes the air off the front of his car, and Jeff Simmons had to dump the throttle to keep the car from going up the racetrack. And as a result, right now, Tiago has put a gap between him and Jeff Simmons in 2nd place.
What's that feel like, Elio, when that happens?
Oh, man, you probably could hear the engine when he was lifting up, and you don't want to be in that special turn 1. Guys, turn 1 here in this place, it's the toughest corner at all, I tell you. And again, the situation that he did the pass was very clean, very nice.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And I just, hey, his car seems to be handled very, very good right now.
Yeah, I am surprised at the gap that Tiago has now put between himself and Jeff Simmons there right on our screen in the Futaba car in 2nd place. And actually, you know, the 3rd and 4th place guys have closed a little bit up on Jeff Simmons, so they don't want Tiago to get away right now.
Robbie, do you think that he can, I mean, the tires can get a little bit old, and if he's forcing right now too early in the race?
Well, you know, from talking to these guys in these sessions, the Firestone tires seem to stay pretty consistent from the beginning to the end of the run. I don't think that's an issue. I think it's more of how these guys' cars are handling, you know, in terms of the conditions of the wind may be one thing.
Look at the Quintanilla, man. I don't think that the tires didn't make any difference for him. He is doing really well right now.
Well, one driver who's had to call it a day here today is standing by with our Cameron Steele. Cameron?
Marty, we know you're going for the double effort here with the Indy 500 as well. What happened here today? I'm sorry, I know it's hard to hear down here. What happened with your car today?
We
we had a good car. You know, it didn't like running in too big of a draft, but once the line started thinning out, it gave it a chance to come back alive. You know, unfortunately, the engine just let go there at the end, and you know, fortunately, it didn't detonate and blow oil all over the track. And as soon as I started feeling it, I brought it in.
Well, great job keeping everybody safe. We'll see you at qualifying tomorrow, Marty.
Okay, thanks.
Marty Roth, who will be a part of the high drama on Bump Day on Sunday. Here, the final day of qualifying as we fill the field for the Indianapolis 500. He'll be attempting to qualify for his first Indy 500, having a tough day today.
Yeah, and that's Matt Beardsley looking at the inside of Jesse Mason and decides better of it and tucks in behind him as they head back through turn 1.
He might have a lot of downforce, and maybe that's why he's able to get the draft really well. And I was expecting Paul Dana follow the lead pack, and looks like he does have a small last downforce, so maybe that's why he's losing performance.
That very well could be. I mean, there's Jesse Mason drafting by him again as they look into turn 3. And what you're saying is, you know, he's got less downforce maybe in the car, but he can't stick it in the corner. And look at there, he got a little bit of high off of turn 3, and he's had to get out of the throttle, and you're losing that momentum. It kills you around a 2.5-mile racetrack.
You know, at Miami, Paul Dana led the first 22 laps, and the car began to get loose and got looser and looser and looser where he couldn't drive it, which apparently is what's happening here. He just can't get the car to stick in the corners, and they're just driving by him like they're in the mall parking lot. 20 laps. We are halfway done here, halfway home in the Futaba Freedom 100. Back with more from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tiago Medeiros is our leader. Back in Indianapolis, along with Elio Castro-Neves and Robbie Buell, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us for our live coverage of the Futaba Freedom 100. Just past the halfway point, and Tiago Medeiros is our leader with Jeff Simmons in second, Lyondike third, Giebler fourth, and Jay Drake doing a great job in that Larry Curry prepared machine back in fifth position.
Man, you look good. You look good on those glasses. Huh? Did you see that? I like that. I need to be more. Look like I'll be more clever. You know, like an intellectual guy. So I need
all the help I can get.
There we go. You're talking.
Leave it to Helio just to keep everybody honest.
There you go. Onboard camera here on the Delphi Futaba onboard for Jeff Simmons, and he is actually being reeled in somewhat by Ari Lyondike, closing the gap.
Yeah, and we just talked about it. Obviously, the Sam Schmidt prepared cars are running very well. You got Tiago that's leading this race. There's Ari. He's in second place. And it looks like he's just buying his time against Jeff Simmons. I think Jeff Simmons is fighting and looking in his mirrors to think about how he's going to keep him behind him, and he's not worried about the guy up there in first place, Tiago.
You know, sometimes, obviously, IndyCar has much more power than this one's, but sometimes that's the distance it takes for to set up a guy and try to make a pass. You see how he's approaching? Oh, that's the Tiago passing.
I think that's Jay Drake.
I thought he was running up there.
That's Gary Peterson toward the back of the pack there. Yeah, the team car.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, it's the same car there.
Yeah,
it's like Sam and I, you know. So,
why do people do that? I wonder.
Just sometimes Sam's running in the back, and when he spun and crashed, oh, Helio crashed. It wasn't me. Come on.
Tiago Medeiros, our leader. Tiago, who led wire to wire from Phoenix in their last outing, led 37 laps at Homestead Miami Speedway. We have trouble.
Boy.
Out in the corner, and heavy impact.
Yeah, it is.
That is the
Jesse
youngster,
Mason,
Jesse Mason out of Niagara Falls, Ontario, the Segway transportation machine for Brian Stewart Racing. And the young man, the rookie driver, has hit pretty hard there in the corner.
Yeah, we'll have to go back here and see what brought all that on.
The angle seems that he went straight, doesn't it? It looks like he went straight. Maybe something broke, or I don't know. It's a weird position that he hit on.
Jesse Mason finished third at Homestead, fourth at Phoenix, and so impressed Brian Stewart that he wanted to put him in a race car. The young man studying engineering over in England.
Yeah, and there's a watching where somebody else is having some type of problems there and is pulling over through pit lane. Oh, no, there they go again. So we'll have to.
Yeah.
They're dodging some debris on the racetrack.
Maybe that's what it is. I can see some of the safety workers there cleaning that.
Again, we are under yellow here on lap 26 of 40. And the safety crews are on the scene. Jesse Mason has had contact. And let's see if we can show you what happened here in turn 1 just moments ago with this car.
Okay, they're coming down the front straightaway and heading into turn 1.
Oh, Quintanilla came down and my goodness.
Yeah. And that's just what happened. Is I mean, Quintanilla got underneath them, and you know, 2 cars can't get in the same place, and they touched wheels, and unfortunately, Jesse Mason got the worst of that and ended up in the outside wall. Hopefully, he's okay.
Yeah, and again, that turn is very difficult. Turn 1. It's so it depends. You know, when you're approaching the corner, it looks like the banking going low a little bit, and then comes high again. Obviously, in that situation, you have somebody inside, so you need to back off or at least try to prevent before, you know, the guy put the car there.
Yeah. And a tough scenario that you're going to have come race day here, Helio, too, is, you know, when you get these cars going side by side, the car on the outside, the car on the high side of that track, yeah, he knows he's there, but he can't get up too high on that racetrack because there's less grip up in that gray area of the racetrack. So you're doing what you have to do to keep the car down, knowing you got a car on the inside of you, but the last thing you want is to get up into that gray area when you're just along for the ride.
You're absolutely right. In fact, yesterday I had almost an incident with Tony Kanaan. We came to turn 1. He made the pass, and unfortunately I have to really slow down. And obviously he noticed that he had to slow down as well, because otherwise we would have crashed. So that was a interesting situation. But again, they are learning. Obviously, what can I say? You know, things like that happen.
Speaking of this series, I mean, they're learning. This series has only been around 3 years. Imagine what this series would have done if it had been around a decade ago or 7 or 8 years ago. You had to sort of learn on some of the tracks in South America and went to Indy Lights in the same way, you know, Robbie was an Indy Light champion. This series really has given a lot of drivers a chance to develop their skills on the same tracks that the IRL Indy cars run.
Absolutely. When I came here first time, I had to do the orientation, rookie orientation, all these things. And again, it was very, very difficult. So now that you have the experience running Pro Series right now in this track, at least when you jump to the IndyCar series, you at least know and have the sense how to go and make the best of it.
And talking to these guys like I have the last couple days, you'd be amazed at some of the similarities, the same things that you're trying to get done with your IndyCar, Helio. These guys are fighting the same scenarios with this race car. Oh, I can't get flat in turn 1, or I'm good by myself, but traffic kills me. It's the same things, and that makes this a great training ground.
They are learning exactly what Tony George wanted this series to be, a stepping stone series, the official development series for the IRL IndyCar stars of tomorrow. Back in just a moment. Back at Indianapolis, cleanup work continuing down in turn 1. We are under yellow for the second time here in the Futaba Freedom 100, lap 26. Here's what happened in turn 1. Elio?
You know, unfortunately, there is nobody's fault here. It was a too late call. He made the move. Obviously, Mason was trying to make the apex going into the turn. Unfortunately, the car was there. When he got the outside of the line, there is no way to go back, and then you just have to pray to not get hurt. So that was just a misfortune.
Told you this for the series could do a lot for your career. How about the very first champion of the Menards Infiniti Pro Series, Anthony Foyt? AJ the 4 standing by with camera.
Well, AJ, your teammate Jeff Simmons right now running second place. What is the game plan for him from here on out?
Well, I think we're running second right now. We were leading there for a little bit, and Thiago got around him and kind of broke away a little bit. I don't know. Thiago's got a great car out front right now, and hopefully we just stay up there and last 10, 15 laps, give them all we got, and maybe get there.
Speaking of giving it all you got, next weekend, a huge weekend for you, the Indianapolis 500. How are things developing for you, and are you looking forward to it right now?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, we've got we got qualified, and I think we're in the show pretty good safely, and we got to do a little bit more working on race car, get it feeling a little bit more comfortable. But overall, I think everything's been going pretty smooth so far, and looking forward to the race.
Right on. Thanks, AJ. We'll see you next weekend.
And AJ Foyt, the 4th, qualified right now in 21st spot outside of row 7. And Larry Foyt will start 22nd. As we are under yellow, there's this legendary Super Tex, AJ Foyt. Back in a moment. 1 week from tomorrow, they will wave the green flag on the greatest spectacle in racing, and the world's greatest race drivers will attempt to win the Indianapolis 500. Who will head to victory lane and add their name to the record books? Could it be a surprise, like someone who pulled it off on pole day? We'll find out 1 week from tomorrow, the 88th running of the Indianapolis 500. Our coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on ABC Sports. And the month of May, it is so special here, but to win at Indianapolis, Elio Castroneves, who did it twice, understands what that can do for you in your career. And it is a memory you will never, ever forget.
Well, we find out about Mason. He seems to get out of the car okay, huh?
That's what he said.
And the good word is that Jesse Mason has indeed gotten out of the car as we are back here at Indianapolis. Here are the top 5 in the Futaba Freedom 100. Madero, Simmons, Leindyke, Giebler, and Drake. As we have less than 10 laps to go. It is 40 laps, 2.5-mile track. That's 100 miles.
Wow, that's... did they throw the green flag? Not yet, huh?
Yeah, there is the green flag. Yeah, and they do those restarts are happening off of turn 3, just like yours are, Helio. And so that kind of caught us all off guard here in the booth of what transpired there.
Exactly, because Tiago was way away in front of it, and I wasn't expecting him to throw with the green flag.
Yeah, he bought himself some breathing room for sure.
I think he started at the middle of the backstretch.
Yeah, it actually looks like.
Tiago Medeiros is our leader. Jeff Simmons in second spot. That is the Futaba sponsorship. For A.J. Foyt in third, Ari Leindyke Jr.
Yep, and then
Phil Giebler in fourth.
Yeah, and Phil's, you know, he's right behind him there. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We were kind of hoping that we'd see a little bit more bunching on that restart. It kind of got a little more spread out than we were anticipating up here.
They come back a little bit. But normally that's what you want to do. 8 laps to go, 7 laps to go.
Oh, if you're at the front, that's what you want.
Trust me. Even if you're already starting 1 lap ahead of everyone.
Look at this, 2x2 and 2x2. Corey Witherall and Paul Dana, your first 2 cars through there, and they sort themselves out. But that was exciting.
Yeah, they're getting there. Look at that.
Yeah, that's I think that was Jesse Mason that just went underneath there. Excuse me, not Jesse Mason.
Mason was
Matt Beardsley.
Matt Beardsley. There they are. Great.
Oh boy,
down there, the 27 car. That's Gary Peterson.
Guys. 3 wide.
Aye.
Oh, there we go.
That is Billy Rowe, Brad Pollard, by the way, the Xbox Team ISI machine. He's the cousin of 6-time Indy 500 qualifier Art Pollard. 6 laps to go for Tiago Medeiros.
Yeah, Tiago right now, he's got some breathing room behind him. So Tiago's focus in the race car is just to concentrate on what's happening ahead of him, turn to turn, not making any mistakes. He's not worried about Jeff Simmons, who's the guy behind him. Now, Jeff, on the other hand, wants that to be a little bit different. And I'm surprised that Jeff has gapped Ari Leindyke so much there.
Yeah, I was expecting Ari showing some. Oh, look at that. Leonardo Mayo and Quintanilla again. Whoa, good move.
Yeah, so look at that. That was a great move.
Yeah, it was a very good move, taking advantage of...
yeah, that was Quintanilla getting underneath Maya as they went into turn 3. So Rolando is having a good run.
On your screen there, you see Phil Giebler, left side of your screen. That's Jay Drake right there going by. Drake in the Vital Express AFS machine. Drake is in 5th spot, then Quintanilla, and then Maya. That's 6th and 7th. There's the Western Union machine of Giebler. How impressive has Jay Drake been? I mean, the young man had only been in an Indy car once when he tested for Panther back in 1999. Primarily drives the sprints and midgets and Silver Crown cars.
And this type of racing, you know, these cars have wings on them. Very different than what he's trying to do. Lots of times throwing a midget car or a sprint car around the dirt.
Hey, Rob, have you drove a sprint car before?
No, I haven't. I haven't had the pleasure.
I saw it, and that's scary, I tell you, man. Those guys are the man, I tell you.
Yeah. And look at this run. Here's Rolando Quintanilla kind of fishing around behind Jay Drake there as they go across the start-finish line.
Man, I'm impressed. No wonder that locking the left tire that certainly did not make any difference in his car.
Rolando Quintanilla trying to get sponsorship to be able to run the rest of the year. Has Steve Erickson working with his team, who was basically the chief mechanic and engineer for Dan Weldon and Scott Dixon when they ran the Indy Light Series.
Yeah, these guys, you know, right here, this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th, we're going to see how this sorts itself out here. We got about 4 laps to go. And Rolando, I'd say Rolando's at the back of that pack, so he's having those 2 cars in front of him, Phil Giebler and Jay Drake, pull him along. Yep. Now he's just, as he gets pulled along by those guys, can he do something to get underneath Jay Drake and have his car stick and make the pass effective?
If he set up did he touch the wall?
It was close, wasn't it? That was
Simmons.
Simmons, yeah,
that
and the
was
Floyd
Jeff
car.
Simmons. Man, that was very close now, but you have to keep going.
He scared the paint off the wall on that one, I believe.
Hopefully nothing happened.
Yeah, everything looks good looking inside his car there in terms of, no extra vibration or anything from his wheel.
A little push. I think it knocked the toe out.
Yeah.
So a little push. Well, 3 laps to go, so you better be...
Let's show you what happened a moment ago. Look, watch left side of your screen. Here he comes.
Yeah. Right. He kissed it. Yeah. I kissed that wall, man. It's not fun.
Yeah, and there's the in-car of it.
You see the toe? The steering changed completely right away.
Yeah. He knew he was going to do that. When you saw that in-car, you saw him just turn the wheel all the way to the right when he busted it. So he knew he got high there.
Yeah, now he just hopefully going to hold up. Looks like okay.
Well, you can't drive it any harder than that when you kiss the wall. I mean, you're using as much as you can. Here's Quintanilla, whose car loops off the corner and has contact on the inside. He's having such a great run.
Man, you know what? The wind is really strong in that direction and hits right on the back. Unfortunately, like Rob was saying, he had 2 cars in front of him. He probably would take advantage of that, but that sometimes really catches you surprise.
And at this point in the race, he's pushing it through there.
That's
he needed to get a good run off of turn 2, because if you're going to make a pass here, it's coming off of 2, getting a good run down that back straightaway, and getting underneath the guys in front of him. So he was just driving his race car.
2 years ago, Rolando Quintanilla had his 2 best finishes. He finished 6th at Michigan and Gateway. Last year, he finished 6th at Texas. This year, in this race, he was running 6th. His 2 best finishes this year are 6th.
Do you see what happened? He was actually the guy in front of him, which is Bleacher. Oh man, I thought I had a hard name. He left a little bit of clean air inside, so Quintanilla put it inside. Obviously the wind hit him on the back, and then, sorry man, that's what happened.
Yeah, and there we see him. He's out of the car and he's flying. I'm sure he's just just mad that that's the way his day's ending.
Boy. So I guess final lap. Yeah.
One more look at what happened here coming off the corner.
Look at that. And Rob, you're right. He was really trying to push it, man.
He was doing what he had to do to get a run and gain a position there. I'm familiar with that scenario.
Remember? I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, actually, you and I probably did. That's you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
I think there was
2001. 2001, I was leading. Roy was right behind. Exactly the same thing happened.
And my mental approach was I was doing whatever I had to do to get that guy. And Rolando had a good race car.
Yep.
We saw him work his way up. So, but that's what this series is all about, is for these young drivers coming up through the ranks to, hone their skills. And that's all part of it.
There is Oscar Medeiros, who is the father of Tiago. He's come all the way from Sao Paulo. He came last year for a number of times to see his son win. And he said, my son has had dreams of winning in Indianapolis, following in the footsteps of Helio Castroneves. And today, 21-year-old Tiago Medeiros will realize a dream. He is a winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and his dad Oscar and family, they're here to see him. What a victory lane this will be as the celebration begins on pit road. When we come back, we'll talk to the winner of the Futaba Freedom 100, Tiago Medeiros. Our exclusive coverage of the Futaba Freedom 100 has been brought to you by Futaba, building a brighter future, and by Firestone. For more information on Firestone tires or to find your nearest retailer, visit firestonetire.com. Now let's go down to Firestone Victory Lane, where I'm sure the Medeiros family are going to be able to celebrate because what a day it has been. He said growing up, he followed in the footsteps of Bruno Junqueira and Helio Castroneves. And when he saw Helio win, he said, someday I want that to be me. Well, Cameron Steele, today, it is indeed Tiago Medeiros.
Thank you. Yeah, Tiago Medeiros, excited. Tiago, I have to ask you, as you're getting out of the car, how many times did you dream of winning at Indianapolis as you were a young boy growing up and learning to race?
It's hard to explain right now, but it's mine. I have to say thanks for the team. They did a wonderful job this weekend. They know how hard we fight for find a good setup for the race. And it's hard to express myself now, but I have to say thanks for all the team. My mom, my father, they came all the way to Brazil to see me. Yeah!
Awesome. Obviously excited. Tiago, Were you surprised at Jeff Simmons how hard he charged early in the race, and was your game plan to lay back just a little bit?
We were trying, I mean, that was a doubt that we had all the weekend. It was hard to find a gear split to the start and the restart of the race. I have to say thanks for Jeff, and we had a very hard fight for the first place of the race, but it was very clean, and I have to say thanks and congratulations for him too.
Were you surprised once you got out in front, or did you know that you were going to be able to get away from everybody once you had the clean air?
I mean, we made some changes before the race. We saw that the wings changed a lot here. We just put more downforce on the car, and that makes me keep flat all the way around. And the change works, and I have to say thanks for the team, Chris, Mike, Clarence. Fuck, it's hard right now to say sorry.
Obviously excited. One happy man. I'll throw it back up to you guys. Tiago Banderas.
And now, how does his life change? It isn't the Indianapolis 500, but he is a winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he is back in Brazil. The word will spread very quickly, I'm sure, Elio, that this young man has realized at least a part of his dream of winning here at the Brickyard.
No doubt about it. He did a hell of a job. I mean, clean race, as he said. Jeff Simmons trying to really fight hard, but both guys did an excellent job. Obviously, Sam Smith Motorsports did a phenomenal job, put both cars in the top 3. So, again, and I guess Brazil won again, huh? So 2001, 2002, 2003, and now Tiago did a good job today, huh?
Yeah. Now we got to find out what's going to happen on Bump Day on Sunday, and then a week from Sunday in the 88th running of the Indianapolis 500. Let's talk just a little bit about what's going to happen tomorrow. We've still got some spots to fill in the field, and the names keep surfacing. In fact, the team, your team involved, Driver and Rombolt, putting a former champion in a car.
We are, and Buddy got in the car for us yesterday. That's Buddy Lazier. He's going to drive for us. We're going to do a co-entry with Hemmelgarn Racing and Dreyer and Ramble Racing and do what we can to give Buddy a good race car. He did a great job yesterday, and I also saw, I think Richie Hearn also got out and did some laps today. So the numbers are creeping up there. And
man, it must be tough, you know, to just come in and try to put the car. It is very, especially the conditions right now, really getting worse. So I mean, those guys, thank God they have enough experience to put the car there and go smooth.
Well, Richie Hearn in a G-Force Penske car. That'll be entered by Smith. Jill DeFerrin. That's my car.
Hey, there you go, man.
We'll have all the action coming your way live. It's Indy 500 Bump Day time trials at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Myself, along with Jill DeFerrin, will be on at ESPN. At 4 o'clock Eastern time, ABC Sports coverage begins with Paul Page and company. We're back here for the final hour of Bump Day on ESPN2 at 6 Eastern time. Let's check back in the pits with Cameron Steele. Cameron?
Well, gents, I'm now with Jeff Simmons. And Jeff, we saw you move to the front, but you weren't able to stay there. What happened with the car? Why weren't you able to stay in front?
Yeah, you know, first I just got to say thanks to Delphi and Futaba and the AJ Foyt racing team. They did a great job on the car. You know, we came here, hadn't raced since last year, and you know, the tires are a little different this year with no testing. I think they did a great job. We just had a little bit too much understeer down at both ends of the track, really, turn 1 and turn 3. And, you know, I got that lead on the restart, but I was hoping I was going to be able to hold on because I knew he was going to get understeer behind me, but we just weren't even really able to go flat quite a few of those laps, and you got to be able to go flat around here to win.
Was that a factor with the wall kiss, or did you actually kiss the wall? They were speculating upstairs whether you actually got it or not.
Yeah, I touched the wall there right at the end, just pushing as hard as I could, and it was a light kiss. I don't think we did any damage at all. I don't think wasn't hard at all. You know, just pushing as hard as I could to try to get back up on him in the draft there, and unfortunately I couldn't get the repeat win for AJ Foyt, but you know, I'm thankful that that I had this opportunity, and hopefully I'll get a chance in the 500 this year as well.
Thanks, Jeff. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And here are the trophy presentation down trackside. The fine folks from Futaba, an $800 million worldwide company formed back in 1948. They have been sponsoring open wheel race cars for a number of years, but this is their first sponsorship in a title sponsor role as a race sponsor. There's Joe Doris, president of Futaba, and Tiago Banderas. He certainly has realized a part of his dream here today. He is the winner. Jeff Simmons finishes second. Ari Leinach, Jay Drake, I am impressed, in 4th spot, and Phil Giebler in the top 5. Maya, Witherell, Beardsley, Rowe, and Paul Dana rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, he came out pretty good, huh? Leonardo Maya.
Yeah, great run.
And I tell you, Jeff Simmons are a little bit upset to not giving the win to AJ, but you know, sometimes you got to take your car.
That's what he had.
Exactly. He did the best he could do. He even touched the wall. So good job for everyone.
Yep.
Well, how about our third place finisher, Ari Langdyke Jr.? Cameron?
Well, Ari, your father has won here a couple times. How much would it have meant to you to get a win here today?
Well, I think it would have been great, but you know, you can't look on the past. We did a good job today. We started 5th and finished 3rd, so you can't complain. I think we would have got 2nd there if it would have stayed green, but we had a lap car in between us, and I kind of had to get on the brakes for him, and then obviously Simmons got away from me. So Tiago definitely had the car to beat here, and I'm just happy that the crew, Samson Motorsports, put an awesome car together for me. Yesterday in the warm-up, I was kind of disappointed in the car, and it really turned around 180 degrees for the race. So got to thank them. I got to thank Renovac for stepping on board, and Cycle Country for coming on board to be our major sponsor, and everyone out there, you know, watching at home. It was a good race, just didn't have enough at the end.
Congratulations, Ari. We're going to send it back upstairs.
All right, guys, I'm going to put you on the spot. These are the IRL IndyCar stars of tomorrow. Who impressed you most here today, Robbie?
Well, you got to look at what Tiago has done. You know, yeah, I know he started on the pole. He did have to battle with Jeff Simmons, but this is just following up what he did in Phoenix, and he dominated in Phoenix, and he won this race. So you'd have to lean that way. There's a lot of talented guys out there, and we just heard from 2 of them, Jeff Simmons and
exactly.
Ari,
You can't pick just one. Obviously, today performance was those 3 guys on top, you know, but also the guys in the back were doing pretty good job to try to keep it up. And again, guys, it's a very tough out there, and just to be here, everybody's already a great talent.
Yep.
Indeed, the guys have moved on from years past. Mark Taylor, the champion of a year ago. Ed Carpenter, who won here a year ago, a week after he had graduated from Butler University. And, of course, Anthony Foyt, A.J. Foyt the 4th. Those are the 3 that have moved on. Maybe Tiago Medeiros will be the next to make a move. This is exactly what Tony George wanted to do with the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. Here is to be able to develop the IndyCar stars of tomorrow and make this be a stepping stone for them.
Yeah, just what we talked about at the beginning of the hour. These cars and this formula is created for these guys to show their talent, their ability as race drivers.
We wish you best of luck, Helio Castroneves, who will start 8th in the 88th running of the Indianapolis 500, going for that 3rd win with the Marlboro Team Penske average. Thanks for being our special guest today. For Cameron Steele, our expert analyst, Robbie Beal, and our special guest, 2-time Indy 500 winner, Helio Castroneves, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating Tiago Medeiros on his very first win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Join us next Sunday, July 4th, from Kansas Speedway at 7 Eastern Time for coverage of the Adventist Racing for Kids 100 right here on ESPN2. Up next, LPGA Sybase Classic from New Rochelle, New York. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sport. For more, log on to ESPN.com.